finally calmed down and the sun is shining again. My vegetables here are kind of battered and all like pushed down into the ground, but they're just starting to come to life again. The leeks seem to still be there, and I kind of picked things up and tidied things up and made things as good as I can. Still a bit of devastation going on there, but we'll get there in the end. Hi, what's happening today? Hope you're having a good day. I certainly am. Thanks for asking. I am Andy, and in this video we're going to talk about the angels. This was a question that came up on the live stream on Wednesday evening. Live every Wednesday and every Sunday, 9 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. Central USA. Don't miss it, and I can do a private reading for you. Or, well, not exactly private because it's live on YouTube, but I can do a personal card for you. Maybe talk a bit about spirituality, and there's lots of psychic people, spiritual people, all kinds of amazing people come into the chat on those, so do join us for it. But yeah, angels, that's what we're going to talk about today. So the question that actually came up was, how do you know when there are angels working with you? And how, I guess, do you optimize that? Because it's, you know, the last thing you want to ignore, that they always come in for a reason, and they're always there to help for a reason. I'm sure the angels were something to do with bringing me here. This is looking nice and leafy today, actually. After all the big storms, we're getting leaves on the trees again, which is great. And it's time to go out and get food. And that's something, you know, I suppose a lot of us are kind of grateful for the food that comes into our lives, and a lot of people will say a little prayer over their food and bless their food. In fact, in some cultures, they're not at all surprised that the Western world has got the way it has, because the great majority of us don't attempt to bless our food, but it's always a blessing that it keeps on coming in. And it's actually a lot like that with angels. The fact is, they are pretty much always around, you know. Free will is so important, and we do actually have to ask them to do things for us or to help us in whatever way. And as I said in the last minute angel video a couple of weeks ago, it does, you know, that there is a kind of moment when the energy builds up and the thing is really needed, and the more it's needed and the more that energy is kind of built up, the more likely we are to actually see something happening because of the angels, something amazing happening to just kind of make life go the right way, or take away a problem, or bring in a blessing that's much needed, something like that. It comes when the moment is absolutely, you know, the crucial moment. But the truth is, you know, that there is always some angelic input going on. Just the fact that the world has survived, regardless of all the crazy things that are going on in it. And if you ever thought to yourself, you know, trying to work out the answer to a problem and you just can't see what you can do about something, and thought to yourself, well, let me sleep on it. And when we sleep on a problem, we very often wake up with the answer. That, my friends, I'm sure is some kind of angelic intervention there, because, you know, you just can't think what to do. And when we want to sleep on it, it's something, you know, fairly important to us that we want to try and work out an answer to. And we wake up and the answer's there. And a lot of people would say, well, that's the subconscious mind kicking in and making things happen. But, you know, the subconscious mind, that is exactly where any of the spiritual forces and powers will actually play into. And if the answer was there in your subconscious mind yesterday, why did you need to sleep on it? That's my question. So if you've ever been in that situation, I'm sure, friends, I'm sure that is some kind of angelic intervention. Certainly something to do with spiritual guidance. Most certainly. It just, you know, it couldn't happen any other way, could it? And so that's one way, you know, the angels are working with you. It's just kind of by default. It's just, you know, that's what happens. And there's lots of evidence throughout history of people sleeping on a problem and coming up with the answer. You've probably done it yourself. And I actually just stopped to check the post a second ago down there. and post has come. I've got some parts here, and this is for a kitchen mixer, a stand mixer, a Kenwood Chef, which I think are sold in like 90 countries around the world, so you've probably heard of it. And I bought one that was it's about 50 years old, I think, maybe 40 years old, maybe it was made in the 1980s, I'm not sure, but it's old anyway. And all I've really got to do is replace a couple of little bits in it, and everyone says it's easy. There's videos on YouTube, and the trouble is there's these two screws you've got to take out to get started. And I took one out. It took me about an hour to get it out, spraying stuff on it and twisting and putting different screwdrivers in, and it came out. The other one won't come out, and I was on for 3 or 4 hours last night trying to get this blinking screw to come out. And in the end I tried to chop the head off the screw so that I could just lift the thing off, and that would leave a little stump that I could take out with pliers, and you know, to no avail. It's still a total mess. And last night I did not know what to do about it, and I was fed up because I spent money on replacement parts, and I was thinking, well, looks like this mixer's just kind of going to go to the scrap heap. But I woke up this morning with a plan, and I dare say that plan's going to take me most of the rest of today, actually. But thing is, I'll get there in the end, because this plan came to me, and it wasn't anything I knew about before. You know, I've never actually been in that situation before. I'm not very mechanically minded, I suppose you'd say. A little bit mechanically minded. You can't really avoid it when you grow up as a man in this world, and it comes in handy. But I've never ever had this problem before. Somehow screws always come out, because that's what they're meant to do. And yeah, you know, the answer was there this morning, and here's another part of kind of working with angels and spirit guides, is trusting that the answer's going to work. I've been in situations, not with screws and mixers before, but I've been in situations before where the answers come, and I didn't really, you know, have any experience to tell me that that answer would definitely work, but the answer always has worked. I can't think of one time when that inspiration, that knowledge has come through and it hasn't actually worked out and resulted in, you know, a positive outcome from whatever I was trying to do. Just looking around carefully, because now the leaves are on the trees, you can't see the road ahead quite so easily, so I want to make sure there's nothing coming. Wonderful to have this nice weather after the storms. It was like winter again last week. It was like wearing heavy coats inside the house with the heating on. It still wasn't warm enough even with the heating on. But I got through like we always do somehow. Freezing cold weather is just one of the it's the downside of living in the countryside, I suppose. We're kind of not entirely off grid, but we're largely off grid, so we don't have the luxuries, some of the luxuries of modern life. We do have luxuries, I must admit. I'm grateful and delighted to say that, but we don't have all the luxuries of modern life. But then the upside is this. I mean, how beautiful is this scene here as we come up to the top of the hill? has been bought. Excellent. Right, let's just turn the mirrors out again. And away we go. So how do you know if an angel is working with you? You know, there's so many different ways that can happen. There really are. And I suppose I've talked about what might be the most obvious thing that isn't obvious to everyone, just the fact that you can tell by the fact that these things are happening that something good's going on in your life. Something better than you would ever expect, you know? But of course there's more to it than that. Every one of us has a guardian angel, same as every one of us has a gatekeeper in the spirit world. And knowing who that guardian angel is can be quite tricky. You can find a lot out through meditation, actually, and that is one of the it's one of the best things you can do at all spiritually. You know, it'll have you in touch with your guides. It'll have you in touch with everyone you need to be in touch with. More important than anything, meditation keeps you in touch with the energy. You keep having the feeling of the energy that's around. And regular meditation is important, but when I say regular, it doesn't have to be the same time on the clock every day. You know, it has to be a regular part of your day. An example I've often given is I do mine after I've fed my chickens, which can be different times. Because it's not great to feed chickens before the food's run out. If you end up with too much food in there, and there's some left over at night, it attracts rats. So there are many different times of day on the clock when I do my meditation, but it's always just after feeding the chickens time, and that's because there's a rhythm of life, you know, and that is what the divine realms are really working with. And so the angels will work with that too. And like anything in meditation, that there are always the two sides to it. You know, you can either go into it with an open mind and see what comes to you, and that's a very wise thing to do, because you'll find out the important things that way. Or on the other hand, you can have a particular intention. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You know, we all need to know things. We all have things we want to find out. And so great, go into meditation with an actual intention. Intention is absolutely everything in any kind of spiritual practice. So that's good. But generally speaking, you know, you will just get to know about angels as you go along, as long as your mind is actually open to it. There are things you can read. There's a lot written online about it, actually, and it's well worth having a read round of the various websites. And I've got a book which I'll show you in a minute, actually. When we go in the house to do a reading in a minute, I'll bring that book out and show you. It's called The Angel Bible. It's available on Amazon. And that was my first real introduction to the angels. But then, as I'll explain, there was something years and years before I got that book which actually linked me to that book, and I didn't realise it until I got the book. That's the crazy thing. It goes back to one of my experiences on Glastonbury Tour in 1988, when I saw this pattern of coloured spheres in the sky, all linked together with laser beams in a distinct pattern. And I didn't know what that pattern was or what it meant until I got the Angel Bible book. And in it is a picture of the Tree of Life from the Kabbalah, which I'm sure lots of you are familiar with. And you can see that tree of life anywhere, really. There are lots of examples of it. It's all over the place, particularly in spiritual terms. You see it in tarot cards, oracle cards. You see it in books. You just see it displayed places because it's a very magical symbol. But to me, it was a link to the angels, because I never knew what it meant until I got the Angel Bible, and then I knew that was what was meant to happen. And when you just know a thing is meant to be, that's the strongest evidence of anything that there is. But it came as a surprise, you know. Here we go, back into the trees. This is the place to be. Yes, it came as a surprise, and it nearly always has done with angels, actually. I once did a Diana Cooper guided meditation, and the angels that she said would be there were there. And she didn't name them, you know, but she told me what role. Well, the whole idea of this guided meditation was that you wanted to meet your angels, and you would know what particular angels you wanted to meet, and they were there. It was absolutely wonderful. But another time, on another guided meditation, which was all about meeting your spirit guides, which I mentioned in the last driving video I did, I had no idea that there would be an angel there, but there was. And so that was great too, in a different way, you know. It took me by surprise. She took me by surprise. And then a medium told me all about an angel I had working with me, and it answered her description. And he told me that she would be working with me for 4 years, and then she'd go, and presumably another angel would come then. And I was a bit sad to think that she'd leave after 4 years. I didn't really want her to go. She was lovely. But she came back eventually. She was away a couple of years, and then she came back in. And who knows why they need to come and go. I'm sure it's more to do with what we need than what they need. And I guess it's another thing I said in the Spirit Guides video. There are different energies to work with. There are different needs that we have. And someone in the divine realms can answer all of those needs. Everything can happen when it's actually meant to. I'm crawling down the lane slower than walking speed now, because it just bounces the car around and damages it, and you know, dear, trying to get into all that spending money business. There's another important facet actually of working with angels or working with any spiritual energy. It's really good not to ask for more than you need. You know, I could just drive down the lane at full speed and knacker the car and not worry about it, because I know my angels would somehow work things out so that I was okay. They always look after you, you know, once you link into them. So link into them today. That's a good bit of advice. They will always look after you. And so, you know, somehow I'd get away with it. But the point is, it's nice and easy for me to go very slowly down the lane. It only takes an extra minute or two each time. And so I'm looking after the car as best I can. I'm not going to ask them to help me sort the car out when it doesn't need, strictly speaking, when it doesn't need to be that way. There's an old expression that, excuse me, that I heard when I was a part of the church in Wales. Jesus loves you, but don't forget to lock your bike up. Seems a simple thing to say, doesn't it? But you know, why bother the divine powers with a thing like that you can actually sort out yourself? One of the reasons I started asking for money in exchange for readings is that Well, for one thing, I was always broke and I always needed the angels to help me sort that out. But also, when you're doing psychic readings, mediumship readings for free, people won't just ask about the important stuff. You get, like, why does my cat say meow? And, you know, you just get all kinds of, I suppose frivolous is the word for it, frivolous reading requests. And when there's some money involved, there's some, you know, people are valuing it. And they'll only ask for stuff they really need to ask about. And that's quite important. So treat your angels with care. Give them a chance. Don't just ask them for every little thing. If you can sort a thing out yourself, go ahead and sort it out. Because that is in tune with you. That is part of your own spirituality in this world, really. We come into this world with a spiritual mission. And we come into this world with the resources we need. Or we're born into a life which is going to either give us the resources we need or teach us the resources we need, or maybe both, actually. Anyway, I'm going to get the car in now, and then we'll nip in the house and I'll show you the Angel Bible, and then we'll do an angel reading, which seems a good thing to do today. So here's the mixer from hell, and a good bit of angel work here. It sprang apart while I was out, and a couple of screws, and I've got the motor out. What's going to be real fun is trying to make it work, because it's all kind of filthy and gummed up, but I will do it. And here we've got the complete angel kit. We've got Ask an Angel cards, which I'm going to read from any second now. This is the book I was talking about. It's the Angel Bible. It's by Hazel Raven. Let me bring it up close. If you order one, it won't be filthy dirty like this. I've had this one for years and years, and I've read it lots of times. But I strongly recommend it. Sometimes it's out of print, and then they start printing it again. It's been in and out several times. So, you know, put it on your wish list. It ought to turn up sooner or later. And, of course, no amount of angel work is complete without a twin pack of donuts, one of which I've already eaten. Right, so let's get sensible. Let's get down to the reading. Card number 1. Archangel Sandalphon, prayer. This one came up just the other day, and it's an interesting one. Well, they're all interesting. Prayer is really where it's at in terms of getting in touch with angels. But bear in mind what I said, they're more in touch with you than you might realise. All kinds of inspiration comes in. But Sandalphon is particularly good for kind of breaking old habits and new resolutions, making life a new thing. And a big part of how that works is that Archangel Sandalphon is actually, he's a brother in so many ways, and he's in charge of delivering prayers, answering prayers, and one of the tallest angels in heaven, very powerful character. And his main role really is as a guide who carries your prayers to God. That's pretty much how he works. And the whole idea of prayer here is that, you know, you can experience miracles to help you on your way, no matter what is going on. But prayer is not only just to ask for those miracles, it's a way of offering love and respect to the divine. It can be about acknowledging and honouring the divine as well. And the more you do that kind of thing, the more you take that attitude, you'll be nourishing your soul, and your soul is bound to grow. So what have we got for card number 2 in this angel reading? We've got Micah, time. And Micah does have a very physical, very ordinary, worldly kind of association with time, because he's a prophet in the Bible, obviously, and we don't know how accurate the Bible is in terms of what it says about him, but he was certainly writing at about 900 BC, and his main complaint really was that people were losing respect for each other and just kind of spending all their time on diversions and not really engaging with the real world. And that just shows that after, gosh, nearly 3,000 years now, we're still kind of headed the same way. So I'm not sure how serious I want to be about that, but that is obviously part of the human condition. Now, Micah is actually the angel of time and plans, and so he can help you when you need patience. Like I needed a lot of patience with that mixer. I can't believe how long. It took me like about a day and a half to get a screw out of it. Goodness knows how long it's going to take before I can actually make a cake with it. But I really needed patience for it. And my donuts here that I've already had one of, and I'm going to have the other one quite soon, I think. It's really been quite a reward for patience. Patience always brings its own reward. So basically everything happens in the right time. And, you know, some things can't be rushed. It's as simple as that. Micah can also help you with your divine plan. He can show you what moves to make next, really. And if you've found yourself wishing your time away, the opposite side of it, really, just too much time, and believing that everything will be better when something happens, whatever that something is, then, you know, this card is telling you, and it's telling me as well, that it's time to snap out of all that, actually. It's card number 2 in our reading, so we've got to be prayerful, and, you know, this is probably one of the first things we're going to realise if we get into that prayerful state, that it is actually time to snap out of things. 3 pentagram stars here and lots of healing spirals and circles there, and of course the third eye very strongly highlighted there. So the magic is real all the time. You know, we often think we've got to wait for the magic to become a real thing, but the magic is real absolutely all the time. So that's Micah telling us about time. What's card number 3 going to be? Let us turn it over. Dokiel, balance. And this card comes in very well at this moment, because this is the balancing point of the whole 5-card reading. It's the middle card. In so many ways then, it's the heart of the matter. And we've got the yin-yang here of balance. It's also just very colourful. We've got lots of high heart chakra pink here. So Dokiel is the angel of balance, sometimes called the weighing angel. And it has been said in, don't know if it was the Bible, but certainly in somewhere in scripture, I wish I could remember, it actually says that Dokiel is the angel who, like the sun, holding the balance in his hand, and it looks like a she here. But there's an interesting thing. Back in biblical times, all the angels were female. The sort of male identity has been tagged onto them, really, to make people take them seriously in times when women weren't women weren't seen as anything really important, I suppose, which seems crazy to us now, but that's the way it was for so long, and I'm so glad that things have changed. But there actually is a balancing factor. You know, things have changed much for the better in that sense. So Dokiel is here, and reminding us of balance also reminds us that life can be a duality thing. You know, there are always 2 sides to every argument, 2 sides to every coin, 2 sides to everything. Many different ways of seeing things in the world, actually. And if we can see that duality and let go of the sort of limited one-sided perception of reality that everyone is driven to have, it's nothing to feel guilty about, it's human nature. But we will try and see things as one way or the other. And if we can let go of that and just accept that the present moment is actually perfect, even with all its problems, you know, whatever problems we have are there to be solved, and it's all part of the journey. If we can see that, we can actually reflect on what role we want to play as part of the bigger picture. So that's something to think about. That, I would say, is the central point of this reading, because it's card number 3 as much as anything. Card number 4 is Archangel Raphael, all about health. And Raphael actually means God heals, so all to do with divine healing, spiritual healing, basically. And so he's the divine physician, really, the godly doctor in so many ways. And he's the angel of healing and of healers. And he's also the angel of healing the healer, which needs to happen sometimes. And by the way, I just feel moved to throw this one in. The crystal peridot, which are tiny little crystals, little lovely green colour, and they're absolutely tiny. Those really are the best crystals there are in terms of healing the healer, as far as I've ever found. So Raphael helps to heal, you know, disease, sickness, things like that. And he also guides everyone who studies the healing arts. So if you're a Reikiist, if you're a spiritual healer, if you're an Amadeus healer, if you're just, you know, an ordinary person, and we're all just ordinary people, really. But what I mean is, if you haven't got any of those particular titles and you're not any one particular path of healing, then you know the human soul is always looking to be healed, and there is always immense positivity there. Now what we actually need here is some of Dokiel's balance, so it comes really nicely after Dokiel there, because true health really happens when the mind and the body and the spirit exist in a balanced state of harmony. So since this card's come up, it's going to be good to just observe yourself, you know. It's got me observing myself. I'm wondering now actually about my donut. Maybe it's not going to do me any good. Maybe I should stop waving donuts at you guys actually. Sorry about that. I'm so looking forward to that donut. But is it going to do me any good? That's what I've really got to think about. But yeah, so we've got to observe ourselves and just explore what it is that we need to do to experience true health, whether that's diet, exercise, rest, meditation. Journaling is a good one as well, actually. Writing things down really gets you in touch with yourself. So there, I mean, this is different to like a tarot horseshoe reading where this one would be the short-term future. It's just, this is all really good advice, but we can see a sequence to the way it's happening. And what is card number 5 in the sequence, I wonder? Let's flip it over. Archangel Zadkiel, and it's all about forgiveness. And forgiveness is one of the greatest gifts, actually, of being in touch with spiritual scriptures, spiritual practices, anything at all that really engages the higher self. Because if you can forgive, you can really kind of change the world. Just by the way you see it differently, you can do more in the world. And it involves health, it involves balance, it involves using your time wisely, and prayer is the key to it. So it really sums up this reading. And Zadkiel actually means the righteousness of God. And Zadkiel is the angel of mercy and teaches compassion and forgiveness towards ourselves and towards other people as well. And that lets us move forward with our lives. It stops us getting stuck inside the world of past hurts and disappointments, yeah? And I'm always saying, leave the past behind, it's old news. Keep the lessons, keep the love, keep moving on. I've said that so many times that even if you just kind of started watching my videos 2 days ago, you've probably heard it 10 times already, because it really is very wise. And I'm not saying I'm capable of that level of forgiveness. God help me. No, I'm not. I'm human like everybody. And the angels have this wonderful thing that they're not exactly human at all, but they're very, very close to the human race. They're given to us to work with us, and they have that fantastic closeness. So they are very, very understanding, you know, especially when we're in a situation where we can't do what we're supposed to do, when we can't forgive. And if there's someone you can't forgive, my friends, try, right? Just, even if that feels hopeless, just let yourself be on that journey. Just don't be close to it ever happening. You know, think to yourself, forgiveness might come in one day. We've got eternity, many lifetimes to get this right, so it's nothing to worry about. But if you can forgive, even, you know, forgiving yourself really is a good start. But the gift of forgiveness really is meant to heal the whole world. And the more you forgive, the more you see the perfection that actually exists, whether that's within you or, you know, the perfection in all that is. And there is a great deal of perfection to be had if we stop being concerned about it. I think my video paused there. I really hope it didn't. But anyway, this basically is a time of letting go of past hurts. It's the time to see life from a higher perspective when Zadkiel comes in. In fact, it's always a good time to see life from a higher perspective, isn't it? You know, I think that's what we're all trying to do in our spiritual practices. But there is today's reading. I hope you've enjoyed that, friends. I hope you find it, you know, I can't think of the right word now, but not just enjoyable. I hope it speaks to you in your heart somewhere, because the angels always do. And all the angels are wonderful, but we've actually got Archangel Sandalphon, Archangel Raphael, and Archangel Zadkiel. So we've got 3 archangels out of 5 cards. So this is a high-level reading. It's been a high-level reading. It's been a privilege to do, and I hope you get loads and loads out of it. So there you have it, friends. Now this is getting to be a long video, so I'm going to end it here. Lots more to say about angels though, actually, and I will work through that book, making some videos about the key points, because it's a wonderful subject, and the more we connect to the angels, the more good things happen in life, basically. Things just keep getting better. So I'm going to have my donut now, and then I'm going to keep on mending my food mixer while this uploads. Hope I get that going, actually. It'd be really nice to make bread without having to kind of knacker my hands trying to pummel the yeast pummel the dough all the time. That's what I'm really after. Trying to be slack, really. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave me a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment. It's always good to share the journey with you guys. If you'd like to book a private reading, my email address is down. Excuse me, it's down there in the description. 35and83@gmail.com, and also down in the description is a link to my coffee.com/twig page, which is where I just put like nice pictures and stuff that's going on in my life, and I will be updating that this weekend, actually, because the garden, as I showed you at the beginning, has come back from the absolute devastation that happened like less than a week ago. Actually, everything was blowing around. So friends, if you've enjoyed this one, tell a friend. Let's expand the Twig Brother family as much as we can. I will be along on Sunday 9 p.m. UK time. That's 3 p.m. Central USA, and that's every Sunday and every Wednesday at the same time. 3 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. UK. Hope you can join me for that. Meanwhile, friends, be good to each other. Love, light, blessings. Have a fantastic time ahead. I'll see you again in a future video. Peace.